They finally investigated your new life and found out why you had to leave. Some people will not understand your silence until life finally silences them too. Right now, there are people speaking about you with confidence while knowing nothing about the battles you survived alone. They look at your distance and call it pride. They also look at your absence and call it rejection. They see your calmness and assume that your life became easy. Most people judge what they can see. Very few investigate what created it. That is why truth arrives late in many lives. There are people who laughed at the way you disappeared. People who called you dramatic because you stopped explaining yourself. People who accused you of changing after all you did was stop allowing constant damage in your life. Those same people will eventually sit in silence one day, replaying old conversations in their minds. They will remember moments they ignored. They will also remember signs they dismissed, and how many times you tried to communicate your pain in ways that did not require begging openly. Understanding always arrives differently when guilt opens the door. Some people only understand value after your absence removes your presence from their daily routine. Human nature often treats consistency like something permanent. The people who answered your calls slowly stopped noticing you were always there. The people who depended on your patience slowly treated it like an endless supply. Nobody notices emotional exhaustion while benefiting from it. Many individuals are comfortable receiving understanding without giving it back. They expect patience while offering criticism. They expect loyalty while creating pressure. And they expect honesty while punishing vulnerability. Eventually, a person reaches a moment where survival becomes more important than approval. That moment changes everything. The world will call your departure selfish before it ever asks for what forced you to leave. Society often protects familiar systems instead of injured people. Families do this. Friendships do this. Entire communities also do this. People defend routines because routines defend comfort, while truth threatens comfort. That is why some individuals become angry when you heal without their permission. Your recovery exposes what they ignored, and your peace of mind reminds them of the chaos they normalized. Your distance forces them to confront versions of themselves they avoided examining for years. A calm person creates discomfort in loud environments because calmness reveals unnecessary conflict. Many people confuse access with ownership. They believe knowing you for years gives them permanent control over your energy, attention, and emotional availability. The moment boundaries appear, they act betrayed. Boundaries expose entitlement very quickly. Because they are close to you and they feel they are used to you, they become entitled. The spirit of entitlement sets in. Pay attention to who becomes angry when you stop accepting disrespect quietly. Those reactions reveal more than polite behavior ever could. Respect that disappears after obedience ends was never respect in the first place. You spent years shrinking yourself to keep peace around others. Every sentence was measured carefully. Every emotion was hidden to avoid criticism. And every decision passed through the fear of disappointing someone. Living that way slowly destroyed your identity. A person cannot survive forever while constantly performing comfort. for everyone else. When you live your life in fear because you don't want to cross people, you don't want to be criticized, you want to please everybody, one day your mind will become tired, your body becomes tired, your soul becomes tired, and then separation will begin. Not because hatred grows, but because survival speaks louder. The strange thing about human behavior is that absence creates investigation, and people rarely study your pain while you are standing in front of them. They become curious after you leave. They search for answers after silence replaces explanation. They examine memories after access disappears. Distance forces them to reflect. Many individuals spend years misunderstanding someone simply because they never paused long enough to ask deeper questions. Surface observations become permanent conclusions. Quietness becomes arrogance, and exhaustion becomes laziness. Withdrawal becomes coldness. Meanwhile, the person carrying the pain continues suffering privately. There are wounds people cannot display publicly because experience has taught them vulnerability attracts judgment instead of support. Those individuals become experts at appearing functional while collapsing internally. Some of the strongest looking people are surviving situations nobody around them notices. That reality exists inside families every day, inside friendships, inside marriages, and inside workplaces. People often recognize emotional damage only after consequences become visible. Before that point, suffering is treated like exaggeration. Then the truth appears suddenly and regret sets in. Many people owe apologies they will never have the courage to speak aloud. Pride keeps countless conversations buried permanently. Some individuals will rather protect ego than admit they misunderstood someone deeply. Still, truth continues existing without permission. No amount of denial changes that what someone survived privately, and no amount of criticism changes the reason they finally walked away. The frightening part about clarity is that it usually arrives too late to repair the damage completely. Time creates distance, and distance creates unfamiliarity. The person people misunderstood learns how to survive without them. That realization becomes painful for those left behind, especially when they finally discover you were not asking for perfection. You were asking to be understood, to breathe without pressure, and asking for honesty without punishment. You were asking for peace. Some people lose good individuals because they spend too much time analyzing reactions instead of investigating causes. Every behavior comes from somewhere. Every withdrawal has history behind it, and every silence carries information. Wise people study patterns before making judgments. Immature people judge immediately, and there is another truth many avoid discussing. Healing changes people permanently. The version of you created through suffering cannot return to who you were before. Pain teaches observation, and betrayal teaches caution. Isolation on its part teaches self-reliance, and after surviving enough disappointment, a person stops seeking validation from crowds that failed to understand them when understanding mattered the most. That transformation confuses people. They remember the old version of you and expect permanent access to that personality. They do not realize survival reshaped your mind while they remained comfortable. Growth also creates distance somewhere. Not everybody can follow you into peace because some people only recognize you through struggle. Anyone can love Anyone can love the version of you that requires nothing. Very few people know how to love someone carrying invisible pain. That is why many individuals discover loyalty too late, and that is equally why many apologies arrive